You're writing up a story about it, are you?
Yeah. So see those photos?
Yeah.
Does that look like the school when you were there, especially that one?
Well, I don't know about... they also had borders there, you know,
Oh, did
when
they?
I went, yeah. The borders were there. We were the day pupils and you weren't allowed to acclimatise with the borders. The borders were separate from us. They were in the classrooms with us, but we weren't allowed to talk or playtime with them and nothing.
They were the same age? Were they
Yeah,
still...
they were. Yeah, they were. And they used to go over to St Francis Saviour's, to the church there at the same, but they marched over on their own, the borders. The day
So that was the main building, okay?
That was it, yeah.
That was the main building. It's still there.
Yeah.
So was that a chapel? Looks like a church.
That was the chapel.
Yeah.
That was the chapel.
Okay. And where was the actual classes?
Oh, behind that.
There was a lot behind it. So
yeah, behind it.
You see there, so the classes weren't necessarily there, they were behind it.
No, I've got a picture of hanging over a fence there, I think. Don't ask me where it is.
Of what, you or someone else?
Me.
At school?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, well...
don't worry about those two.
No,
it's mainly
they
just
had
a
a tennis court behind, behind all that, where we'd had sport and that there. Yeah. And, yeah.
They're the only pictures I could find.
Who's that, I wonder?
Oh, it doesn't matter. It's
no,
just,
I know that.
It's just a picture from Market Square looking towards it. Same there, it's just from Market Square.
Yeah, they had the borders there. The girls were boarding and we weren't allowed to really assimilate with them.
Why
we were
was that?
day pupils, see? And the borders, were separate to us.
So, were all the teachers nuns?
Yep. Yeah, they were all nuns. Two of the girls I went to school with went away to become nuns, yeah.
Who was that?
Nuns. Oh, God.
Can't remember.
One of the girls come from Unanderra. Her mother had the gates down at Kembla Grange. Mum had the gates at Five Islands Road. And this other girl, she went down, I think she went down to Tasmania. She wanted to be a missionary nun and she ended up going over to Rabula somewhere as a nun. But I just can't remember their name. If I saw it, I'd know it. But
so when did you get to Wollongong from Wagga Wagga?
We came up just after the war started. I was 10, 1940. What a trip we had coming up too from Wagga. We got to Sydney. Mum, she found a seat, my father, he wasn't able to walk much. She found a seat on the train for him and her and I, Billy and Terry travelled all night and it was chock-a-block full of young soldiers and I can still remember that trip as long as I live.
From where to where?
Wagga to Sydney.
Wagga to Sydney
and
on the train.
Then we got down. Mum had already sent the furniture up in a big, on the railway, and it was at Unanderra railway station.
Yeah.
And we had the dog and the galah in the big thing, and every time somebody went past it, old Cocky would sing out, "You there, Mrs. Crutchley?" Because he could hear people outside and he could talk a bit. He was a galah, grey and pink one. And we had Mike the dog was in the thing, and we had a cat, but the cat took off. Never found him again. The boys tried to get him, but Mike was all right. He was the old dog we had. And we come up from there, and it was all outside the thing, the railway at Unanderra. And the bloke said to Mum, every time I walked past there, I thought there was someone in there, because there's somebody in there calling your name. And Mum said, yeah, it's old Cocky in his cage.
So when you got here, where did you go to school?
I started off at the public school first at Unanderra, and then I didn't like it because it was so different to a Catholic school. You know, they had the different.
Yeah, you've been at a Catholic school in Wagga.
Yeah, I went to Mount Aaron Convent, it was called, and then we come down here and I went to the public school. It was across the road. It's from the railway there. It's a nursing home now.
Yeah.
And I hated it because they'd had to say you had to say to the Queen and all that, and I didn't like it. So I ended up going into Wollongong, to St Francis Xavier's, and then when you got to 6th class, you went into St Mary's.
So if you got here in 40, so did you spend 2 years at St Francis Xavier's or just one?
No, because I was only 10, 11.
Yeah.
Probably two years.
2 years. 40, 41, and then 42 you were at...
I went to St Mary's.
Good Samaritan.
That was the only Catholic girls' school anyway.
Yeah.
There weren't the others. And then...
What was it was there a lot of girls there?
Oh, yeah, a lot of girls there because they had... The girls came up from down here, down Cerule and Ostermere, and the Carrick girls come. Their father had a chemist. They came up, and you know, a lot of girls came up from down from here, and also from down the coastway, because it was the only girls' Catholic school around. Weren't any others. Like a few girls ended up going to the domestic science. That was the public girls' school, they called it then. Domestic science one.
Where was that at?
That was, I think it's where the school, like the primary school is now.
Oh, okay.
The public
so
primary
it was near
school.
St Francis Xavier's.
Wollongong there somewhere, yeah.
Okay.
Because Nancy, my friend, was at the domestic science school, and
so what was it like at the school?
oh, it was
What
all
can you
right.
remember?
I mean, it was all right, but it had a bit of a there was a lot of rich people and a lot of ordinary people. Like Mum didn't have any money much, and you were kind of ostracised a bit, you know. You weren't asked to go in anything if your mothers and that couldn't afford to pay for stuff, you know.
What, like music and some of those other things?
Music. None of us were in the choir or anything like that, not because we didn't sing, but because we couldn't afford to do what they wanted. I don't know, but it was all right, you know. And
what about your education?
Well, the nun we had, I was only speaking the other day about her, the principal was a Sister Gabriel. Mm-hmm. Cruel as cruel. Oh, God, she was cruel.
What would she do?
Oh, with the cane. And see, the ones that caught the train to Wollongong, we were told the girls had to walk down the right side of Crown Street, and the boys going to Christian Brothers then, it was up the lane, you know, Crown Street, and they over this side, there's that lane goes up, well, that's where the Christian Brothers School was. Yeah. And then they changed it and they called it Edmund Rice, but when we went, it was the Christian Brothers. Well, the boys had to walk down one side of the road and the Crown Street and the girls on the other. But if you got to school, and Sister Gabriel would know if any of us spoke to any of those boys, and you'd end up having the cane.
What would they give you? Where did they give you the cane?
In the hand, held out his hand like that. Yep. Oh, bastard, she was. She knew everything you did. We used to call in to Woolworths was there then, and you could always get for threepence or tuppence a bag of broken biscuits from Woolies. You'd go in there and have your tuppence or threepence, and they'd give you a bag about that with broken biscuits in it. Oh, man, I can remember all that, you know.
And you just take your lunch to school?
Oh,
and-
yeah,
and
we always
run it.
had took our sandwiches with us and that.
Did you...
They didn't have like a tuck shop or anything there, you know. Yeah,
Oh, you just had water, that was about it.
poor old Mum, you know. Mum was a good Catholic, but she didn't have the money, not anything much, you know, but never mind.
What about sport? Did you do any sport when you were at the school? At the college?
No, a bit of, I think we had a bit of basketball thing. That was in on the tennis. They had a tennis court there, but I never played tennis. But a bit of an exercise. We all had to do drill.
Oh, right.
You know, drill it was called then. Now it's calisthenics or something they call it, don't they?
Did you do any sport on the beach?
No, we never went near the beach. Only we weren't supposed to. We had this other girl from Dapto. Her parents had a cafe, and her name was Poppy Skolama. She was Greek, Poppy something, and she used to lead us astray. We'd go down to the pool. They had a pool there called the nuns' pool down. Well, we'd in our lunch hour sometimes. Some of us would sneak out and go down in the pool, especially with Poppy, Eileen Dolan, who was Mary, what's her name's cousin,
George.
Mary George's cousin. Us four were great mates at school, you know.
And what, you'd go down there, you wouldn't swim or anything, you'd just go and hang around?
No, just have a paddle.
Oh, yeah.
We have a paddle in the nuns' pool. They call it the nuns' pool. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I don't know whether they ever went in it or not, but
That wasn't on the point, was it? That was down...
Down, as you walked around to the bars, you know,
Yeah, near
that
the
road,
bar,
but
yeah.
there was a road there, but a pathway, put
Yeah.
it like that.
Yeah.
Down, you know, underneath the highway, the road.
Did you regularly do Catholic things, like going, having church and all those ceremonies and...
Religion, we had it, yeah. We had it, all the lessons, religion, you know, we had that all. We had that, and on once a month we went to benediction to the, well, it's a cathedral now, to the church, and the Crystal Brother boys had all come down to the church on a Friday, more, you know, lunchtime mostly, and they had a bar along on the seats between. And the boys would be here and the girls would be there and they'd be holding hands and all that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you got... And then some of the other boys played football, and they played down in Pioneer Park there after school, and some of us would trot down after school and catch the late train home and tell Mum we got kept in. Yeah, and then the war started, and there was a big army camp at Brownsville, I think it was, and of course we used to get the 5 o'clock, 5:30 train home sometimes, because there'd be all the young soldiers on it. They were only 18, well, we were about 14 or 15, and get the late train home because all the young soldiers had gone to Brownsville, to the big camp they had down there. It was exciting time, you know, we had a good time. I know the war was on, but you made your own sort of fun, you know.
You said that day when the war was over and everyone was in Crown Street, you were still at school then, weren't you? Because that was 45.
Yeah, but I was working then, Woolworths. I left school 15, well, just before I turned 15.
So you did 3 years of school, didn't you?
Yeah, I did the intermediate certificate. We did that in about year 9, I think now.
Yeah, that's
the third one.
Well, was that 44 or 45?
44 probably, I'm not sure.
So you must have started school about 42, 43, 44.
Yeah, I forget, the
Yeah,
year
okay.
and that, yeah.
All right, so but by 45 you had left St Mary's.
I left St Mary's in 45 and I got a job at Woolworths.
Yeah, but I mean you left at the end of 44.
Oh, I'm not sure whether it was the end.
But no, what I'm saying is you completed your 3 full years at school, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I see at St Mary's they also had a office training like shorthand and typing, and I did 12 months for that class as well.
While you were at school.
When I was at school, yeah, we had you could do the shorthand and typing. We had a girl taught the Girl of Lions, and her father, I think her father was a policeman, but she ended up going away. And then I think her name was Lyons, I think. Taught us the shorthand and typing.
You mentioned that after you left, you went and worked at Woolworths.
Yeah.
Then you decided to become a nurse.
Yeah.
Was that when you went back and got some tuition?
Yeah, I went back on a Saturday afternoon for a while to do a bit of English and arithmetic, which, we had to when we go on nursing. And Sister Gabriel was teacher. There was another couple there.
A couple of nuns?
No, girls there having tuition. And because you had to do a nurse's entrance exam to get into nursing. And that's what I did.
What year was that, do you know? How old were you about then?
Well, I went nursing when I was just after I turned 18. So that was 48.
48,
yeah, about then. That's
I was doing some research. In 1943, 9th of July, 3 bombers came over and one of them let their guns off and they shot a lot of holes in the roof of the school. Do you remember
school?
that? St Mary's?
I don't remember that.
You don't remember any incident like that when the school was gunned with a machine gun?
No.
Must have been. Was there any special events at the school that you remembered? I mean, obviously.
No, it was only ordinary events. You'd have choir. Sometimes they'd have a concert on and be singing, and nothing spectacular really. I can't remember.
What did you enjoy most about the school?
Well, actually, Michael, I didn't really enjoy it, that much because you weren't in anything much. It was always a certain few that were picked to do anything,
Yeah.
It was very social difference people. But I had
but despite all that, it sounds like most thing you enjoyed was your friends and.
Oh, my friend, yeah, we're our friends, and one of our friends went and she wanted to be a nun, and her mother and father said, look, we'll let you have a trip overseas and you can do this and before you do it. And she did all that for him. She went over on a boat to England and she worked for a while, and then she came back and she said, well, that's how I am. And she went down to Tasmania and she trained to be to go to the islands, the leper colonies and everything, and that's how she wanted to be a nun, doing work for the poor, the people on the islands, and they had leprosy at that time somewhere. I think she went to the, I can't think of the names of the islands where she went as a nun, a nursing.
When you were in class, were you all together with the rich and the poor and all those sort of things? In the actual maths and English you were all together.
Yeah, we were all together, yeah.
Yep.
And, we had...
was there only a single first year class, or was there a couple of classes? that they divided you into?
No, it was mostly it isn't like today where they have there was English, arithmetic, algebra, that was taught then, and, it was a single class.
I mean, how did they fill up the day?
Oh, we had different classes to do. You'd have arithmetic and English and algebra and, went on
English and
had
that. And you had exams
we had
and
playtime
projects
and lunchtime and
okay.
there wasn't like little, whatever they call them now, but it was playtime and then we'd have lunch and then knock off at 3:30. Oh, the time was taken up with classes,
Yep.
Yeah. I don't remember everything about it,
Did you have those annual parades at the showground and that?
We did once. We went over to the showground. I don't know what it was for, but we had what they call the big, like a big pole, the flag, and the maypole.
The maypole.
Yeah, the maypole. We wore pink and blue dresses and we went around the maypole at the showground. I can't think what we did that for, but we were all in that. It was for some reason, I suppose, I'm not sure. But you never had a lot of other like that. It was just school and sport.
Did you ever go on any excursions or anything?
No, nothing like that, no. Never.
How many nuns were there?
Oh, God, Michael. There was quite a few nuns. Most of them for different classes, we'd have someone for algebra, or someone for English and math, arithmetic, you didn't call it maths then. And they had, they taught us a bit of cooking and that.
Yep.
It wasn't much, but we learned a bit of domestic science, they call that.
And you also had your stenographer kind of.
Yeah, we had a class, but that was after when you did your school certificate and that. After that, you didn't have it during the early part of your learning. You had that a bit later on if you wanted to learn how to be a secretary or something,
After you left, did you still have friends that you'd been to school with for a while?
Just Eileen Dolan and Mary George. And I had another girl from Kiama, Barbara Blackman. Her and I were good mates.
Okay.
She, Barbara, but I never had, a lot to do after that. Nancy Stones, she was my bridesmaid. Her and I got into the hockey playing for Fig Tree, the Fig Tree team for hockey. We played for Fig Tree. They had a good team at Fig Tree.
And that was after you left school?
Yeah, after we left school, because Nancy belonged to the Church of England and her grandmother was a real wowzery old woman, and she tried to break us up and said it was wrong that Nancy was friends with a Catholic. That's how they were. Oh, yeah.
So most of your friends had to be Catholic at that stage?
Well, that's what the old people said, but I had to get permission for Nancy to be a bridesmaid when I got married.
Yep.
But that was,
Just going back, where were you born?
Lockhart.
Lockhart, okay.
Yeah, in 1930.
And from 1937, your mother, Kate, was in charge of the railway boom gate. Then around 1940, you moved to Unanderra, or the flag?
No, Mum didn't have the gates at Lockhart.
No, at Wagga.
Yeah, at Wagga.
From about 1937.
Yeah, well, she moved. Yeah, she got in the railway then. She went up a class. She went up a little bit higher, and they offered her gates at Wellington. So she she went to Wellington on her own to have a look at them, and while she was there, a man that worked with my father on the railway, he was here at Corrimal. He was in the gates because the wife had left him with 5 kids, so he got the gates at Corrimal, and he wrote to Mum and told her there were gates coming empty down here at Unanderra. So she came home from Wellington. She was only away not long, and she decided then to apply for them here to Unanderra, because he said it was on the south coast and it was better than way out Wellington. So she got them here at Unanderra, and that's what I said. We came all the way down on the train. Oh, it was packed, and Mum got her. And as we were coming down, because I was only 10, I was just about 10 then, I had never seen the ocean, and I screamed all the way because I thought the train was going to go into the ocean, and the guard pulled up, the driver pulled up, and the guard come along, and he said, "Love, you won't, it's all right." And I was petrified, looking out right with what it'd be like to a kid that had never seen the ocean.
Yeah.
Frightened the life out of me, Michael.
So when did your mum and dad leave the gatehouse at Unanderra and move into the flats at
Wollongong.
Wollongong? And did you also live there?
No, I was married by then.
Oh, so there was after 1951 that they moved from Unanderra.
Yeah, about 1953, I think she might have moved, retired.
Just before he died.
Oh, yeah. he was in there for a while.
Well, he died in 1955.
Oh, well, that'd be right then, yeah. And, so...
And
I had to
and
leave.
so once they moved in there, they were just all by themselves then, because Terry and everyone had gone and been to war.
Yeah.
So, and they weren't... So 51, okay.
Yeah, Terry was in there for a while, but then he went, when he come home, he was staying there for a little while in with Mum, but then he moved out down to the
Oxford.
Down to the Oxford somewhere, yeah. But he was working out at the steelworks then.
Yeah.
And out in the cable joining place, he worked there.
So when you were at St Mary's, they all went off to war, did they? In about 42, 40?
Oh, yeah. Well, Jack joined up, I think Jack joined up in Mel. I know his thing was a V, his what they wore on their arm, it had a V on it. And I think he joined up in Melbourne, maybe, because he was down at Millbelong then, out of Wagga, on the property there, on the farm scene. But overall, he joined up early, Jack did, and he became a warrant officer while he was...
Okay.
And Terry, that's right, Terry joined up. He was a bit... he took off one day and he joined up when he was only 16, and Mum, she fought to get him out, and when she got him out, then when he was 18, they were conscripted and he had to go back in. And Jack was on his way to New Guinea, and he happened to see Terry was there too, and what they were allowed to do to claim a brother or that, the old ones. So he got him on the same battalion with him. They what they were doing was on the little tanks. They were driving them tanks. Weren't the great big tanks, the smaller ones they had. Him and so
okay.
That's all. I can remember a few things. So.
Okay. No, that's good. So that's probably about all that you can remember much from the 3 years you were at St Mary's, about what it was like.
Oh, it was all right, but there was a class distinction between,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, Michael, how it was then, you
Yeah.
know, and there was a few of us that were our parents.
What were the kind of nuns? Were they like the Sisters of Saint Joseph in the full garb?
No, the Good Samaritan.
Good Samaritan.
They had I think theirs was navy blue.
Okay.
Joseph's wore
Were dark brown.
Yeah, the Good Samaritan nuns.
Yeah.
And we had a couple of lay preachers that they call, like the girl that taught us the shorthanding typing. She ended up being a nun, but she taught us for a while.
But they were all females.
All female nuns.
And the priest would come and say mass and that.
Yeah,
at
the priest
school?
would come every Friday to hear our a confession. We'd go and he'd be behind a little thing where.
What, at the school?
At the school, a Friday we'd have confession and then we'd go over to benediction at the well, it wasn't the cathedral then, it was the church.
And did you all have uniforms?
Oh yeah, we had a navy blue tunic and a blue blouse, I think we had, if I remember. But a navy blue tunic and it had these pleats and all in the front of it.
What was the dress code, and it was strictly adhered to, etc.?
We wore stocking things like tights, they call them. Yeah, we had them. And a little hat thing. We had a little hat. Yeah. Got any pictures on the school much, but
What, you think you might have one or two?
might have one, but I don't know yet. I'll have to think if it's up there. I'm not sure.
Do you know if any of the other people you went to school with are still alive?
No, not really, Michael. You'd have to have a look for. I'm not sure because, as I said, we weren't in with a lot of them that were there. They were a bit hoity-toity, some of them.
Yeah.
There's only a few were sort of stuck together, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So there's anything else about the school you can remember that we haven't talked about?
No, I can't remember much about it.
Okay. Well, you're only what? 12, 13, 14?
Yeah. And
Pretty young.
the nuns were very strict, terribly strict. Oh, that's strict. They weren't happy-go-lucky. Oh, there was the one that was the music teacher was all right. Yeah, she was a bit of a, you know, a bit more open, but most of the nuns were that, you know. I better go and get me
Okay,
bit of
thanks for
makeup
that.
on. That's about, I can't remember.